resources, particularly during the rainy season when disasters become imminent. As they launch a 5-year strategic work plan, the humanitarian organization is seeking for $275 million budget to effectively relieve drought and food shortage for anticipated 300,000 people likely to become disaster victims in the next 5 years. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
Members of the ECOWAS Network of Ministries of Education, focal points for school health, nutrition, and HIV, and other stakeholders are meeting in Banjul. The 3-day convergence, funded by the Partnership for Child Development and the World Bank, is among a host of initiatives capable of ensuring sustainable school feeding programs. Louis Mendy has the rest of that story.
From the ECOWAS Network of Ministries of Education, focal points for school health, nutrition, HIV and AIDS, and stakeholders are in Banjul for a 3-day seminar convened to respond to the continent's ever-growing need to strengthen awareness and understanding of strategies for sustainable school feeding programs. The 13-member country delegation joined by their hosts are discussing a new approach called a homegrown school feeding within the context of national school health and nutrition programs. The scheme focuses on links between school feeding and local agriculture and the role of using locally grown foods when designing balanced menus for schools. Mrs. Ami Kolembai, the Director of Basic and Secondary Education, said the involvement of her ministry in this network is crucial, given that it provides a unique contribution to health and agricultural interventions that have significant impact on the performance of school children.
This is premised on the fact that schools provide an excellent environment and opportunity to reach a large number of young people through preventive education initiatives that adequately prepare them with the knowledge and skills needed to make responsible choices about their sexual lives.
So this week is about how do we strengthen and support, scale up the programs in the region? How do we work more closely together? How do we share experiences? What's good practice? What roads have we gone down that we really shouldn't be going down?
The objective of the Banjul Convergence is to share experience and take stock of the status of the implementation of school feeding programs with a view to having a paradigm shift in favor of a nationally owned school feeding program with the recognition of the fact that countries are at different levels in this important journey.
Sourcing food locally, homegrown school feeding, has an additional food security benefit by providing a source of effective demand for local smallholders. Set against these economic and social benefits are the cost of delivering school meals. School feeding can be a valuable component of a broader approach to addressing food insecurity.
Teresita Masquera, head of program WFP, said her office was pleased to be associated with the event. Her primary reason for this is that for the first time, the event is organized where eating what we grow and grow what we eat constitutes the key message towards sustainable development.
The initiative is twofold. On the one hand, we will have the opportunity to grow what our children eat, and on the other hand, empower smallholder farmers, mothers' clubs, and all other stakeholder groups by providing a ready market for their produce.
The solution for addressing intergenerational poverty is to provide early child development, to provide school health, to provide school feeding, to make sure that these children today, these poor children today, grow up and are fit enough and healthy enough and well educated enough to find themselves jobs and opportunities going forward.
The value of homegrown school feeding is credited for gaining wide recognition among governments around the world, endorsed by African governments under the Comprehensive African Development Program in 2003 and the United Nations in 2005 as one of the quick impact initiatives to accelerate the attainment of the Millennium Development Goals.
The barriers and actions required to achieve a nationally owned, sustainable homegrown school feeding program and linking this to the broader school health and nutrition package. Having all these personalities from 13 different countries coming together is a clear manifestation of the required commitment of our various governments to take ownership using the multi-sectoral approach. It is also an event which demonstrates the unwavering resolve and commitment of both governments and the World Food Programme to successfully transit from an old model of school feeding program, which largely depends on implementing partners such as WFP to procure and deliver food aid to schools, to one that will be totally and locally funded, managed and monitored.
School feeding itself is well recognized as a safety net that alleviates hunger, supports education, nutrition, health and community development. Therefore, with our homegrown school meals, children are assured of a wide variety of nutritious foods. The initiative will also provide farmers access to a sustained market for their produce, thereby increasing their income level. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Back to the top of the news, His Excellency the President visited the Maintenance Service Agency on Wednesday to examine the fleet of vehicles and equipment presented to the National Disaster Management Agency by the Japanese government to support disaster mitigation endeavors in the country. Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh used the opportunity to encourage early preparation for the upcoming rainy season, whilst warning against profiteering by those who deliberately exploit resources by building structures on waterways, thus increasing vulnerability to flash floods. JRT's Ibrahim Ajata went along and he reports the head of state also revealed ongoing plans to ensure the presence of solid disaster mitigation teams in regions that are prone to flooding.
Visiting the Maintenance Service Agency in Koto for a first-hand appraisal of vast fleets of vehicles and equipment presented to the National Disaster Management Agency towards the effective lessening of disasters caused by flash floods, His Excellency the President, Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jammeh, revealed plans to ensure the presence of solid teams across the country to aid disaster mitigation endeavors. The President examined the large score of equipment and vehicles which consist of pickup trucks, ambulances, bulldozers, excavators, silent generators, tipper and trailer trucks, and rescue boats all set for work in the upcoming months as the heavens prepare to open up.
I decided to come because the rainy season is just around the corner and we want to make sure that we have solid teams on the ground. So we came to look at the equipment available so that we put up the necessary announcements to get people to be able to operate. We are not distributing this to the regions because they'll be abused. So what we are going to do is station one team in Basse, because I think the areas that are most prone to flooding and other flash floods and rain-caused disasters are Basse, URR, some parts of CRR. And so the team in Basse would be able to take care of CRR as well.
Extremely concerned about the destructive effect of natural calamities and public well-being, the National Disaster Management Agency is under the direct purview of the President, who continues to commit significant time and resources to the reduction of adversity steered by flash floods, which usually take between August and September, causing immense material loss around the country. But an unswerving drive by government, marshalling all it can muster, could help to considerably lessen its effect on communities.
Here in the greater Banjul area would take care of from here up to Kalaji, because around LRR we hardly hear of disasters, especially during the rainy season. But whatever the case may be, we will be able to have contingency plans to be able to cover from here up to LRR.
And in a bid to make sure that the colossal vehicles and equipment are sustainably utilized, the President underlined plans targeting disaster-prone areas in every region, with greater prominence for the most susceptible settlements. Yet he was quick to advise against adversity profiteering in those who intentionally build structures on waterways, increasing their exposure to flash floods in order to benefit from government resources designed for flood victims.
We have a good start. But of course also what I want to make very clear here is that the NDMA is under my office and we are not going to entertain chronic victims. What I mean chronic victims is that People build at flat